I rise to offer substitute, and I want to start by saying this was actually, I think, one of the most enjoyable conversations that we've had in election all year in the committee, and I really appreciate the chairwoman for her leadership on that. But I rise to offer a substitute because I want to keep the intention of the bill, which I believe is to protect taxpayers, while also making sure that we're protecting voters. The substitute that I'm offering today would confine the bill to a prohibition on seeking election in a special election for the office of which the legislator just resigned. So we're going to narrow the scope of the bill to only those that actually resign from office. Ultimately, I think striking the prohibition on those expelled from running for office in a special election would be preferable for a couple of reasons. The first is the chairwoman was clear that the argument is about protecting taxpayers, and I think this is a laudable goal. Ultimately, though, the bill as drafted doesn't do that. Unfortunately, the provisions don't save a single dollar because we're dealing with sunk costs. And for my economic friends and my economist friends in the room, we know that those are dollars that have to be spent regardless. A primary and a general election are called and required when there are vacancies. Does not matter how many people choose to run in those elections. So we don't save money by this provision. And I agree, though, that if you resign from office, you shouldn't get to turn around and then waste taxpayer dollars. However, if you are expelled, I think that's different because we are forcing the incurrence of the expense. You literally can't say this is protecting taxpayer dollars because we're the ones creating that expense, and my substitution would address this. But secondly, I do think there is one other fundamental piece here, and that's this idea that we should be careful in overriding the will of the voters. In this case, we have the absolute constitutional authority to expel someone. And in fact, we've done that in this chamber. We do not have a constitutional right to tell voters that they should be denied some of the choices then moving into their future. And I think of it this way. If we expel someone for good reasons, and then they choose to run for their seat again, the voters will decide they don't want to send them back. If we expel someone for spurious reasons, and the voters disagree with our choices, then they'll send them back to us. And in fact, the Constitution infers this idea when they say we can't kick someone out again for the same reason. We have an authority to punish members, but I reject the idea that we're granted the authority to punish voters. I trust the voters, and I hope my colleagues in the body will too. So I offer the substitute. I hope we can keep the best aspects of the bill. I think this is really good public policy. If you resign, you don't get to change your mind and cost taxpayer dollars. If we kick you out, we give the voters the ultimate say. So overall, I hope that we can respect the will and the taxpayers, and I urge adoption of the substitute.
The question before the House is the adoption of the substitute. The clerk will open the board. The substitute is not adopted.